One surefire way to make sure Americans aren't healthy is to ensure they can't access physicians, which is exactly what this would do. The administration announced on Friday they intend to make changes to the H-1B visa, which is a visa through which many foreign workers come into the United States. These are generally very highly skilled workers who we don't have necessarily in sufficient quantities in the United States for the companies and organizations that hire them. So this is the breakdown from 2024, and you see that both education and medicine and health are pretty highly represented on this list. The new rule that they want to implement is to charge companies $100,000 per year for every individual they bring in on an H-1B visa. So if you look at the healthcare section here with about 17,000 people on H-1B visas working in healthcare in 2024, that's about 17,000 people who are no longer going to be working in this country. Hospitals cannot afford to pay $100,000 extra per year for every employee they might have on an H-1B visa. That is putting those employees out of reach, which is the intention of this change. So what seems most likely is companies, for example, in tech, will just employ more people to work in China and India rather than magically being able to find new people in the US who don't have the skills they need for these jobs. It's worth noting studies have shown highly skilled workers who come to the US on visas like the H-1B do not actually negatively impact US professionals in any way. When it comes to healthcare, about 1/4 of resident physicians, those who are specializing in a particular area after having already completed medical school, are international medical graduates, meaning they graduated from medical school outside of the country and are likely to be here on a visa. It's also worth noting that a lot of international medical graduates or immigrants who work in medicine go on to work in rural and otherwise underserved areas. If this new fee structure goes into place, these people will all lose their jobs, and the people who rely on them for healthcare will no longer have access to healthcare. So I'd love to hear how this makes America healthy.
I'm so mad and frustrated right now because me and my wife, we were planning to go to Korea tomorrow for my sister's wedding. However, Trump just signed a bill for H-1B visa holders. So H-1B visa is basically a working visa for foreigners to work in US. And employers normally sponsor those visas. And the bill basically was now employers have to pay $100,000 per person per year, which basically means do not hire foreign workers outside of US. For my case, my petition already approved and everything, so that all I needed to do was going to Korea and go to US Embassy, get the interview for the visa, and then get the visa stamp, and then come back to US. That was my plan. However, now that this bill is just going to be effective tomorrow, everything is uncertain. Like, I don't even know how long it will take for them to give me a visa stamp, and I don't even know if they're just going to give me a visa stamp. And I don't even know, even if I get a visa stamp, when I come to US, they might ask, did your employer pay that? Answer is no. And will my employer pay for me that amount of money? No. So we've decided not to go. We were so excited until we heard this news, and I haven't even talked to my mom. I don't even know what to tell her. She was so excited to see us, especially since my wife is pregnant. I don't even know when I'm gonna be able to leave this country. I'm just sending out this for awareness to people like myself. If you're currently in US with the H-1B visa working as a foreigner, do not leave this country. Otherwise, you might.
The healthcare system is cooked. So the proclamation that was just signed now requiring companies to pay $100,000 for people on HB1 visas, basically to prioritize Americans to get the jobs. So now everybody's thinking about tech. They're just going to outsource it, and nobody is thinking about healthcare. Do you guys not understand how many people in healthcare currently are under an HB1 visa? And if these companies do away with them, we don't have enough people to fill those vacancies at this time. So what are we going to do? Nobody's going to be able to see a provider. Nobody's going to be able to seek treatment because we're already flooded. We already don't have enough with what we have. So if the people with the HB1 visas can no longer work,
guys, when I heard about this new $100,000 fees for H-1B visas, my mind just went straight to a bigger picture. Hey beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. So credit goes to the creators in this video. So guys, in today's video, the H-1B has always been one of the programs that brought the world's brightest minds to the United States, right? Because think about it, A lot of the tech giants that we know today, the innovations they rely on, even breakthroughs in medicine and science, many of them came from the people that first arrived on visas like this. Now, with this rule, companies are being told to pay $100,000 upfront if they want to bring in a skilled worker. And that is not a small amount, guys, especially for smaller businesses or startups that actually rely on global talent to get off the ground. So I ask myself, will they really be able to afford this? Big corporations, for sure, they can. But for the smaller ones, they will not be able to. And when smaller companies cannot afford to bring in the talent they need, that talent will definitely go to somewhere else. Places like Canada, Australia, or the UK are ready to welcome them without putting such a heavy price tag on their head. And it just makes me think that, okay, is this really protecting the American jobs? Or is America just handling over the next big wave of innovation to other countries? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, because America feels like it's going to protect American jobs and all of that, but the fallout of this looks like it's going to be greater than that. Let's keep watching.
They're about to start charging companies $100,000 per year for every H-1B visa employee that they have. Now, hiring and training Americans doesn't sound like that bad of an idea, right? It's almost like when you disincentivize them to not hire us, it works in our favor. Like, I think this is a great idea because at the end of the day, I don't think Americans don't want to do these jobs. I think that they truly are just being undercut. And even the companies, they don't even try to hire Americans these days. Like, you have to actually force them to do this. You have to charge them $100,000 per employee. So now anyone who's here on like a H-1B visa to be like a security guard or work at Dunkin' Donuts, they're going to look at them like, I don't really know if I want to do that anymore, because they still have to pay the employee's wage. Like $100K, that just goes straight to the government. So now if you want to bring someone over here and pay them to do tech, you're going to be paying them $300,000 instead of $200,000. Or you could just pay an American $150 and actually let them have a decent standard of living.
The US government has issued several clarifications for Indian H-1B holders after yesterday's chaos. And if you have friends or family in the US, you should not miss this. Well, firstly, they've said that this will only apply as of now to new applicants, and everyone who already has an H-1B visa is either inside of US or outside of US. Their employers will not have to pay this $100,000 fee as of now. The second thing that they've mentioned is that if you have family members, who are living with you in the US on H-4 visa, which could also be your children, well, they will be allowed to be students. However, when they grow up and they want to get into the workforce, whether their employers will have to pay $100,000, that is a question mark. Now, this clarification has come about because a lot of the big US companies actually went through utter chaos, and they have created pressure to say, we can't suddenly manage to get so much of a workforce. But here is something that comes up which is extremely important for everyone to understand. President Trump has been very clear to say that he has an anti-immigrant policy. So this small relief has come only in a transitory manner to actually tell people that I am going to do something like this. And now that this has happened, a lot of the American companies will, in a phased manner, try and fire immigrant employees and try to start creating dependency on American employees. Which is why if you are in the US on an H-1B visa as an immigrant, it is important that you realize before your company decides to fire you, start applying for better opportunities in companies in high growth economies like the UAE, like the Saudi, or maybe even in India. Because even if you come back to India at half the salary, remember the cost of living here is almost 25% of the US, and you will be net positive. Do it before it comes to you from your organization or from the government itself.
Good for a lot of Indians out there. A lot of Indians in the US, they're going to struggle now with these H-1B visas. Damn, they're going back home. My thoughts on the whole H-1B thing is that visa isn't even a legitimate visa, in my opinion, right? You can stay in the country as long as you're basically tied to a certain employer, as long as you're working. And that to me isn't true freedom. Because what happens if you've worked for a bit and you don't want to work, right? You want to travel the world, you want to do something else with your time, but you won't be able to do so with an H-1B visa. I mean, there's a lot of factors to it, right? Like domestic job employment right now in the US is pretty low. There are a lot of people who are graduating from these universities, learning a lot of BS skills because universities aren't teaching them the things that employers want. And a lot of people are, as a result, not getting employed. I think youth unemployment is around 20, maybe even 30% in US and Canada. So what's the best way to combat it is stop getting people from overseas who are probably better at what they do to come here and start investing into domestic employment. Does that reduce overall productivity? Absolutely. But what it could do is make the life of the average American potentially better, as long as it doesn't cause a massive stock market
visa
crash.
is one of the most desirable visas in the US for people coming from other countries with special skills. That includes doctors. So the hospitals that hire the most doctors on H-1B visas are actually the hospitals that are the smallest, the most rural, the ones that have the least resources, oftentimes the hospitals that are safety net hospitals to their communities. So now, of course, this $100,000 visa fee is going to prevent people from other countries who are in training to come here and practice medicine. And that's really going to create a wider disparity in those populations and in those remote communities. So it's going to impact those foreign doctors, but it's also going to impact those safety net hospitals that rely on those doctors. And it's going to really hit those residency programs that fill up all of their spots with foreign medical graduates. But of course, I know that if you aren't in the medical space, you probably don't care about those individual stakeholders. But the one that you might care about is that this change will actually impact the patients and the communities that those safety net hospitals care for. We're all going to see wider gaps in care, longer wait times for specialists, overworked primary care physicians. I mean, the whole thing is going to go under. I don't think people really understand how much weight foreign medical graduates shoulder, but they're about
Guys,
to.
for this, there are exceptions too, right? Because in areas like healthcare, defense, or advanced technology, the rules still leave companies, to bring in talent. So it's not like a total shutdown, right? But it's more like raising the bar, like really, really high. Because if you are really important and they want to pay that amount of money to bring you in, then that means your talent must not be found in America. On the other side, you have the risk of shutting down global talent and slowing down progress. And on another side, right, you have the push to make sure that Americans are prioritized and not pushed aside, guys. Because at the end of the day, this new $100K fee is more about more than visa, right? It's about the future of the company. Because do we want a country that stays open, welcoming the best and the brightest, no matter where they come from? Or do you want an America that protects its own, even if it means losing out global talent? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Because both sides are, supporting or against this motion, they are holding on to their beliefs, they are holding down tight, and they are saying that this is getting heated. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, because for all the supporters, they are saying it's a shield and it protects American workers. Make sure that the companies don't take advantage of the system anymore. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear from you, and I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Mental health is important. Ciao.